You must have been glad to get out of that suit.
I was very glad. In fact, I just got out of it.
Yeah.
Just a couple minutes ago. I've been wearing it.
It was a snug fit, wasn't it?
Ooh, yeah, very tight. Lost a lot of weight.
Yeah?
Actually, I had to lose a lot of weight to fit, not a lot of weight. I don't mean like hundreds of pounds, but I had to, generally actors build up for a role like this. I actually had to come down and pare myself down just so I would fit into the thing.
Why, your pecs were too big.
Well, you could see them.
Yes.
You could see how large I was. That's my actual body. Actually.
With all those...
Hi, folks.
Yes, they're out there somewhere, Michael.
Oh, you have a balcony here. This is
Yes.
nice.
This is a...
I'm going to help you see the balcony.
This is a...
Hi there.
Cheers, Mike.
Good to see you.
Here you go.
Here, I have money. I have money. Yeah. We'll talk to the band
sure.
for a bit. Hi, boys. How are you? Lovely rendition of Batman. Sam, good to see you. A bass player. I used to be a bass player. Hi, fellas. How you doing? Anybody want anything to eat?
I tell you what.
You want some sandwiches or something?
No, they all want a gin and tonic, but you're not getting it. This is going to completely ruin those musicians, you know.
Why?
Well, because their heads are now completely turned.
I know, they got a little
We'll get
camera
no
time.
good. We get no good out of them now.
You have to pay a little extra, too, once they get a little camera time.
Oh, yeah. 7 guineas.
Let me go over and say hi to them again, fellas.
Yeah. No, enough is enough. That'll be 14 guineas. Now, many actors would have killed to play the old caped Crusader.
Uh-huh.
Did you have to kill to play?
I did have to kill a few guys to play the role.
Yeah.
So it had to be done. No, the role was offered to me, and I thought they were out of their minds, actually, because Tim called me and said, listen, I told you about this movie I'm doing. He had told me about it when we were doing Beetlejuice. And he said, I'd like to talk to you about it. And I thought, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if he wanted to just literally talk to me about it and get some opinions, because we're pretty good friends. And I said, he said, I think I want you to do it. And I said, for what role? Because I thought he'd talk to me about the Joker. And he said, for Batman. And I was very polite, but I really had no intention of doing the movie until I read the script. The script was very, very good and really interesting and obviously different from the Batman most people know.
Yeah, but there was a certain amount of question marks, wasn't there?
Yes,
the
there
Rolling
were.
Stone had,
Yes,
can
there
Keaton
were.
fill the cape?
Yeah, and I did, didn't I?
You did.
Thank you. Let me say hello to them.
More than filled. More than fill the cape. Yeah. Was that rubber suit looked a killer?
Yes. It was. It was very uncomfortable, but they were paying me a lot of money. No, they were.
No, don't knock that for goodness sake.
No, sir. Yeah. It was very uncomfortable and sweaty. Actually, it was like a rubber band, that I had to kind of squeeze into. And
But it was
stretch out.
cool. I remember the first time I saw him in it. It was so neat. I kept thinking, wouldn't it be great if you could buy something like that?
Yes,
Yeah.
and walk around with your muscles.
Yeah.
As terrific a body as I have, it would be a wonderful thing to be able to slip into something.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, here in London, there are places where you can actually slip into things like that, I think. House of Pain, places like that.
Oh, yes, there's plenty of that.
The big concern that I had about, one of the Batman things was, one of my first questions was, what's this outfit going to look like? Because I pictured like tights that were like hanging down here, stuff, gonna like loosen the back, which made me look a little silly. And then I saw it and I thought, whoa, I could look good in that thing.
Yeah. Did Jack Nicholson give you any advice
Yes.
about how to play?
Leaned over to me one day and we were talking about the role and talking about different ways, both in makeup. I said, I don't know, Jack, blah, 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 blah. I got this concern, I got this concern. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning, he'd just come in. He just leaned over to me and he just looked over to me and he said, just let the wardrobe act, kid. That's what I did. I just showed up, put the suit on, and went to work.
You have a young son, Sean.
Yeah, 7, yeah.
I mean, was he impressed by his dad? He must have been.
Yeah, he was at that great age where he could enjoy the fantasy of it. I was afraid if he knew I was doing it and I brought him over so he could watch us shoot some of it, I was afraid that it might spoil it for him, but he was at the great age where he believed that there was a Batman and at the same time understood that I was Batman, and he could kind of get both things, so it could be larger than life and yet he could be proud of his...
Yeah. Did you enjoy doing it? What was it?
For the most part, I did enjoy doing it. It was very difficult to do, not very difficult to do, it was a little more difficult to do because it's a different kind of acting challenge. It was a very technical film, and if you notice, the performance is very internal and small, and a lot is done with, I had a lot of me, you only see this much of my entire body, so you had to be careful of the way we moved, and certain camera angles, you had to make very large dramatic motions, and then for other camera angles, just a turn of the eyes did it, you know, and that took hours and hours and hours. So it wasn't like a film like Clean and Sober, which is exactly the opposite, where it's a very actor-oriented movie, and you show up and every day's a challenge, you know, and it's about character and a lot of language, and Batman was a little more of a technical movie.
Yeah. Did you have to sort of dirty up for that movie?
No, I just kind of rolled out of bed and showed up. It's kind of what I looked like in the morning.
Yeah.
I actually, what I did on that day, that was the first thing we shot.
Very first scene we shot.
Very first scene. And it's not a real easy scene to do. I was kind of glad we jumped right into the heavy stuff. And I stayed up for a night and a half, didn't sleep for a while. That was basically it. Just kind of worked myself up.
Drink?
Had a couple of drinks, but it wasn't to be drunk, or it wasn't to. I think the only thing to have, the only reason I had a few drinks was, I guess I wanted to feel as though if this guy's up for a couple of days, he's probably had a few drinks, and just not to be drink, just to know what it's like to have it in my mouth and maybe smell a little bit like it in the morning. And do you know what dip is? It's not snuff. It's not exact. It's a kind of chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Well, I for a while I had this bad habit of doing it when I love to fish, and guys I fish with used to always keep a little down in here. It keeps your mouth moist, and I had stopped doing it for a long time. But what happens when you do it is the nicotine enters your body right away, and you kind of get a real buzz, as they say. Well, I hadn't done it in a long time, and I knew this would kind of give me that kind of nauseous, kind of unfocused, edgy feeling. So I got that idea at the last minute, and the prop man got me a can of that, and I did a little of that, and that got me kind of going. And then I said to Glenn, I tried to rationalize my way out of smoking because I really didn't want to smoke. And people who were recovering from drugs and or alcohol, who have ever even seen a cigarette, generally smoke a lot. Chimneys. So you go to these meetings, and you cannot see anybody in the room for all the smoke. So I said to Glenn, you know, I thought of this ridiculous rationalization for why this character wouldn't smoke, and I went through it. I said, you know, I don't think Glenn I should smoke because I don't think blah, 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 blah. And he's just looking at me, and he said, he smokes. I said, you're right. Props. So I started lighting them up. And if you hadn't smoked in a while, they kind of make you sick as well. So I just stood backstage, running the lines in my head, thinking about it, and just lighting them up. And by that time, I was pretty much ready to go.
You can go out and research something like that, but you couldn't, for instance, research Beetlejuice.
No.
Where did that come from?
That came from, I turned that movie down two or three times too because I didn't even understand it when I read it. I didn't know what it was. And I'd met Tim, and there was something about Tim I liked, and I met Tim again, and I sat and talked with him, and I started to trust him. And I said, I have a sense that this guy knows something that I don't know. So I said, let me go home and read it again. So I read it, and I thought, okay, let me really think about this. And I just started working on the script, and as I was in my house alone, and I just went off and literally started walking around the house, improvising. I'd read a line, I'd take it off, and I said, well, and I just kept pushing it further and further and further. And I said, I'm going to come up with a voice for this. So I came up with a voice, and then I said, I need some kind of walk for this. So I wanted to walk, and then I went to the wardrobe department and said, took a bunch of wardrobe home and started experimenting with the wardrobe. And eventually, it was one of those roles where you start in third gear, you know, at least, and I just went in revved, you know, and had a lot of fun.
You obviously had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, that was a terrific way.
Got on the film, didn't it?
Yeah. What about Batman 2? Is there going to be another one?
Probably.
Would you do it?
I would do it if it was at least, if it looked as though it could be at least as good as the first one, and hopefully better, and more than likely if Tim were involved.
Good.
I'd be interested.
And if he won't do it, I'll do it.
He's doing it, because
Okay.
he's got the suit.
Well, good luck. Good luck with Clean and Sober.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
And
very
thank you
much.
both for joining
Thanks
us.
a lot. Nice
Michael
to
and
meet you.
Glenn.
Thanks for having me.